Am I the asshole for telling my daughter her disease is not an excuse to neglect her responsibilities? My daughter got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes late April. Her DX wasn't really dramatic or anything. My stepsister has had it since she was a child, so when I noticed that she was drinking a lot I immediately brought her to the doctor and here we are. I can honestly say we've adjusted pretty well. My stepsister came over when she came home and helped us out a lot. My daughter is old enough that she can handle most of it on her own. Here's the problem, ever since her DX she has completely stopped taking care of anything around the house. We have quite a few animals that she and her siblings 6 and 9 share the responsibilities of. They have had to step up a ton because she won't even feed the dogs anymore. Because they are so young, there's a lot of things that they cannot physically do. I am a single mom who had to get a second job to pay for her insulin. Obviously I don't hold that against her. It's not her fault, but I don't have the time for the animals. Not to mention her grades are all FS now. The other day I hit a breaking point and basically told her that if she doesn't start helping out, I will start rehoming the animals that her siblings can't handle. She had a total breakdown, telling me I have no idea what she's going through and how hard it is. I told her it's not an excuse to completely neglect everything and that she had to get her shit together or the animals will be finding new homes. She ran out the room crying and has spoken about 3 words to me since then. I understand that this disease is a lot to handle, and I'm trying to be as supportive as possible, but I don't know what to do anymore. My stepsister says I need to give her time to adjust, but I don't know if I can. Am I a terrible person for doing this? FAQs, because answering the same QS over and over is getting really annoying. Yes, she is in therapy and a support group for teens with chronic illnesses. Yes, the animals are hers that she wanted and bought herself. I'm withholding judgment for now, but before rehoming the pets you should see if there's any groups in the area that are able to assist you right now. Research has shown that whenever possible, it's best to avoid rehoming animals and instead provide their current caretakers with the tools they need to care for them. I know our local animal shelter will help with pet food when needed, and I'm sure you could find neighbors to walk dogs for the time being if needed. This shithole country wants you to think you don't have community and your only options are to bootstrap it. It's not. If the animals are being neglected and they need to be rehomed, then so be it. Your stepsister is wonderful for helping you, but your daughter needs real diabetic education. She literally can't live without it. I guess I'm in the minority here, but not the asshole. I'm sure her diagnosis is hard on her, but she's literally neglecting her animals. My mom was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. Do you think she just said, well, fuck all of my responsibilities? No, because you can't do that. OP has 2 freaking jobs and the kids are too young for everything. It's not fair to the pets. Info: did the kids ask for the animals? Or did you decide to have animals on your own? Did you have these type of animals before you had the kids? Not the asshole. It appears to me that most people here overlook the fact that you are now working 2 jobs, which must be exhausting, and you are also worried about your animals. The diagnosis is extremely unfortunate for your daughter, but she will adapt and eventually thrive. You also need to look after your own welfare, as well as your children's, since you have a lot on your plate at the moment. Nah. You guys are both dealing with so much, but you are right in putting your foot down where the animal welfare is concerned. If those dogs aren't getting the attention they need, it makes sense for that mental and physical load to be given to someone else. Regardless of a diagnosis, life goes on, and if we have animals or children under our care, their needs don't magically cease to exist. Nah. Mum sounds burnt out. Daughter is struggling with a massive diagnosis that changed her life pretty quickly. For the animals' sake, if mum or daughter can't care for the animals, realistically something has to give. I don't know what the animals are to understand the level of care needed. I mean, 6 hamsters for mice are less hassle to care for than 3 Great Danes, 1 cat. But if it's got to the point they're almost neglected, it is the right thing to do before the situation has worsened. I do feel very sorry for both mom-daughter. Not the asshole. Animals still need to be cared for regardless of what you're going through. If that can't be provided, then they need to be rehomed to someone who can. For gosh sakes, I was doing water changes on my fish tanks 2 weeks after having all 4 wisdom teeth removed. Would have been sooner if I didn't have weightlifting restriction. Nah. OP is carrying too much of responsibilities. The daughter is having a drastic transition in life. No one is superhuman to handle everything. I honestly see a lot of these posts where struggling parents are labeled assholes for being in terrible positions that are out of their control. It's more a NAH situation. OP is at her wit's end, and yes, getting news of a chronic condition is awful, especially for a teenager, but what else is she meant to do? The pets need looking after. Perhaps OP could have approached it more sensitively, but this happens when people are having a hard time. OP's daughter needs to care for her pets, or they will have to be rehomed with someone who can care for them properly. Not the asshole. Pets can't be neglected. If they have to be rehomed, so be it. Nope. The animals need to be cared for. It's as simple as that. No one is the asshole. The mom is exhausted, and the kid is scared. Having to pick up a second job as a single mom is rough. You not only have to care about yourself, but also your kids, and the time you had for that is just gone. Be kind to yourself. Nah. It looks like she's depressed with her future looking bleak at the moment, so I wouldn't push her too hard on not achieving a lot. But animals aren't toys that could be shelved and brought back. If the responsibility is too much, she needs to pass it over to someone who can handle it. Going forward, I do think rather than making the animal removal sound like punishment, talk it as a transfer of responsibilities for the well-being of animals. She has a duty to keep the animals happy. Ask her how she wants to handle her responsibilities. Not the asshole. When it comes to wanting to rehome the animals, if they're being neglected, they should go to where they'll be looked after. Not the asshole. Tough diagnosis. But not an excuse to shirk her responsibilities. All those YTA voters, I wonder what kind of parents you will be. You are so harsh on OP, but she has no superpowers and can feel upset as well. Not the asshole. Her disease is not an excuse to neglect the animals. They do not understand what is going on and don't deserve to be left behind. Your daughter does deserve some time to come to terms with her diagnosis, but not at the expense of the animals. Another chat with the stepsister may help. The other day I hit a breaking point and basically told her that if she doesn't start helping out, I will start rehoming the animals that her siblings can't handle. Not the asshole. If the daughter cannot take care of the animals, they should be revoked. Nah, your daughter is suffering and you're obviously stressed out. Reddit stays doing the most over the least. I would look into therapy for her and rehome the animals if you don't have the time, not to mention, with the cost of insulin, the extra money will help. Depression. Not the asshole. The diagnosis is a tough one for someone her age, and it will understandably be hard to handle. But the poor animals can't feed themselves, and the 6 and 9-year-olds can't do it all alone either. Maybe could have come at it a bit less threatening about it, but bottom line is they need feeding. Hard situation for all though TBF. Not the asshole. It's a traumatic time in her life, but at 17 she's old enough to also realize her only parent is now working more hours to keep life together for 5 people. You can't neglect animals because you're feeling depressed or busy or whatever. If things really are so bad, then animals need to be rehomed where they will get adequate